been said that a river is like a ribbon tying together all the stories of the many people and places along its bed. And the mighty waters here have so many stories to share. They recall the tumultuous birth of this deep gorge and the challenges people have faced along what many have called the River of Death. These waters also tell of the region's recovery from industrial exploitation and of the promise of wild places protected for future generations by the National Park Service. These are the stories of a great American treasure, New River Gorge National River. There are several stories to account for how the New River came by its name. One explanation is that around the start of the 18th century, when surveyors couldn't find it on existing maps, they charted and labeled the northward flowing waterway as a new river. The name stuck. It turns out that the New is actually one of the oldest rivers in the world. The striking topography of the gorge through which it flows serves as a passageway revealing the ancient watercourse's turbulent past. With headwaters near Blowing Rock, North Carolina, the New River follows much of the course of its historic ancestor, the Tays. Geologists suggest that millions of years ago, the Tays River cut through the newly formed Appalachian mountain chain that arose when the continent of Africa collided with North America. The river sliced downward 1,500 feet, leaving deep canyons and layers of exposed rock in its wake, sculpting what we now call the New River Gorge. Using the gorge as a migration corridor, a rich variety of plants and animals followed the river here, where over time they carved niches for themselves and now thrive. The Catawba rhododendron, commonly found further south, used the gorge to expand its range. The Appalachian flat rock community here, with its cut plants, McDowell's sunflowers, and elm-leaf goldenrod, makes for an ecosystem found nowhere else. Certain species of fish along New River Gorge National River have adapted over time and remain unique to the region. As long as 12,000 years ago, native peoples hunted and fished here. Mountain lions, elk, bear, and buffalo were once in abundance. White families rooted in Europe and Great Britain began settling the region in the early 18th century, establishing small farms on lands used to sustain Shawnee and other Indian tribes for generations. Conflicts with the new settlers eventually drove native tribes to move westward. In time, word spread among the new landowners and beyond of a black rock found underground that could burn and produce immense heat, coal. Evidence suggests that hundreds of millions of years ago, long before the era of the dinosaur, vast swamps, lush with vegetation, formed layers of peat responsible for the rich coal beds of central Appalachia. As the deepening gorge gave way to the eroding powers of the New River, long buried coal seams surfaced from the darkness. Until the 19th century, the rugged terrain of the gorge made large-scale mining and transportation of coal too costly and impractical.
I've been working on the railroad all the long day.
But in 1873, the completion of the Chesapeake and Ohio Railroad ignited coal fever along the New River Gorge. The arrival of rail transportation brought to the region investors, entrepreneurs, and speculators, all seeking ways to profit from West Virginia's rich natural resources. While thousands of acres of virgin forests were cut to fuel America's burgeoning industrial revolution, it became clear that coal would reign as king in West Virginia for some time. For over 60 years, the region bustled with activity. Coal mines every quarter mile lined both sides of the New River. Beehive coke ovens belched toxic fumes. The smell of sulfur hung in the air. Sawmills whined in the distance. Trains, night and day, scuttled along the tracks, coughing smoke and whistling warnings as they approached town after town. With the advance of industry, an influx of workers flooded West Virginia. Thousands poured into the gorge to mine its natural resources. African Americans from the Deep South, immigrants from Italy, Germany, and Eastern Europe, and mountaineers deeply rooted in the region's hills and history. They each came together to carve out a better life for themselves. But for many, owing your soul to the company's store became more than a line in a song. It proved a bitter reality. Miners were required to endure long, exhausting hours of hard, dangerous, backbreaking work just to sustain themselves and their families. But by the 1930s, industrial expansion and exploitation of natural resources and of the people here began to wane. In time, families and entrepreneurs alike embraced the new River Gorge as something to enjoy and protect, rather than conquer. In 1968, investors launched the first whitewater rafting business here. 10 years later, Congress established New River Gorge National River under the administration of the National Park Service.
Hyvin kuuluu lenkeä.
Charged to preserve and protect these lands and waters for all to enjoy, both now and tomorrow, the National Park Service oversees 70,000 acres and 53 miles of river along the New. The forests along New River Gorge National River blanket the hills with hickory, maple, pine, oak, hemlock, and a variety of hardwood trees. These federally protected woodlands provide essential habitats for threatened and endangered species of plants and animals. To further preserve the natural setting of this region, the federal government also established Gauley River National Recreation Area with its world-class whitewater, and Bluestone National Scenic River, offering excellent fishing and hiking and biking trails. Today, visitors drawn to these waterways enjoy a variety of recreational activities. Whitewater rafting and rock climbing attract enthusiasts around the globe in search of one thrill after another. Sightseers enjoy the spectacle of Sandstone Falls and the seemingly endless horizon at Grand View. Wildlife watchers can spot more than 350 species of birds here. The National Park Service works to protect habitats and endangered species in the park through scientific studies and research. History buffs now benefit from the efforts of the National Park Service to restore and preserve such significant sites as the old railroad town of Thurmond, the mining camps of Kaymore and Nuttleburg, and the Trump Lily Farm, once home to subsistence farmers living off the land.
Why the same old train that brought me here's gonna carry me back again. Right on that New River train. Right on that New River train.
Over time, the value placed on these lands and waters has shifted dramatically, from that of a challenging wilderness to conquer and exploit to a national treasure to enjoy and preserve. Today, just as each drop of water helps turn a creek into a river, we can all make a difference, pitching in by responsibly taking time and making the effort to leave no trace of our stay here. In this way, our individual stories become one with the ongoing narrative of three great rivers, the Gauley, Bluestone, and New, preserved, protected, and enjoyed for generations to come. So wait no longer. Find your place in this great story and enjoy these national treasures. They belong to all of us.